Hi YouTube, I'm Aiman.
I'm Hizami.
Welcome back to one of our auto repair videos. And if you have a Honda Accord 2003 to 2007, then in this video we're going to show you how to diagnose why your radiator fan isn't working. That's the fan on the left side. And we're going to diagnose whether it might be the relay, the motor, or the temperature switch that's not working. And we're also going to talk about the methods that you can use at your disposal to diagnose which one isn't working. And since we're dealing with electronics here, we have electrical engineer Hizami here to explain most of it. So, let's go. Alright, so the fan in our Honda Accord doesn't work, so we're going to be showing you in our Honda Civic. Don't worry, it's the same thing. So, Hizami, take the charge.
If the AC is on, when you turn the key to 2, then both fans should be working. Right now we have the engine on, but the AC off, and the left fan isn't on because the car is not hot, and it's only on to cool down the engine.
In this Honda Accord, even when you turn the engine on, the radiator fan does not work. So we have to diagnose which one of the three problems I mentioned earlier, which is the relay, the motor, or the temperature switch, which one of them is the problem.
To check to see if the fan's motor works, we're gonna unplug the connector from the harness, revealing the 2 pins, so we can use the multimeter to check if it works. Okay. And we'll just connect. And as you can see, it works. Unfortunately, you can't use a test light to check for this, but you can use a power probe 3. So that's what we're gonna do right now. To use the power probe, you can see I already attached the ground to one of the pins, so I touched the probe to the other pin, and it's beeping in the screen, so it works. And if I send power, the fan turns on, or the motor.
So we've already done a video on how to check continuity using tools like the Power Probe 3 and the multimeter. By the way, Power Probe 3 is still the best tool ever. And the next step is to check the relay. The easiest way to check if your relay is working is to either swap them, or you can take a known good relay. We have this from the older car, and you can substitute it. Now, if the problem still persists, that means the relay is good. Alright, so after hours of digging, my dad finally found out that the problem wasn't the temperature switch. So in order to test if it's working, we're going to be testing its resistance.
First, we're going to be using a multimeter to see if there's resistance. So I'll just touch these two together to make sure it's working. And I'll touch it to the 2 pins. Okay, and as you can see, it's not working.
This one has a 0 resistance now. I think what we can conclude is that it's more of an on-off thing rather than it's a scale. It only activates at a certain temperature. My dad thinks it's like 180 or 190 degrees Fahrenheit. Test its harness. Now the harness is where the switch goes. So in order to check it, we're going to jump start it. Now we're going to take a piece of wire. We're going to insert both ends into the holes. And then we're going to make sure that our relay is put back in. So we're going to put it back in. And then what Hizami will do is he'll turn on the engine. Well, actually, he's going to turn the ignition on, not the engine. So once you turn it on, go ahead. The fan should start spinning. And I will see it does. Now when you do this, make sure that you put the wire in the correct pins, because I made that mistake. So he finally printed out the diagram, the wiring schematic, right here. And found out that the true culprit was the AC pressure switch. Now for the part that I don't fully comprehend, when we replaced the compressor and we put it back, we didn't put enough refrigerant, and we have refrigerant right here. And because of the lack of pressure, the AC pressure switch didn't sense any pressure, and therefore it didn't activate. And therefore it wasn't able to provide continuity. So this is what I understood when my dad told me. He doesn't fully remember, especially since his engineering years were around 30 to 40 years back. But from what I understood, in order for the fan to activate, the relay must activate. And all the requirements for the relays to activate must be met, and one of them must be the AC pressure switch. It has to detect pressure to activate, or it could be the temperature switch, and that is only if the engine is turned on, if it gets hot enough. Alright, so the ignition's on, the AC is on, and as you can see, both fans are turned on right now. Both the left side and the right side are moving. However, the relay right here isn't in. So that means that even though this isn't in, we found out that this is the relay for the radiator fan and it's turned on by the temperature switch. However, we don't need the relay because it's already being turned on by a different relay, which is this one. And that is from the AC pressure switch. Okay, that was a bit confusing, but let's test it right now to see if it matched what we had previously in the previous clips. So that's positive, or power. That's ground. That's power, and that's ground. So it wasn't like the previous clips where we actually had power right here. And Hizami seems to suspect that that means a short circuit because power and power shouldn't be happening. It should be power and ground. But it seems the whole system's messed up.
According to our diagram, this here is the relay for a radiator fan. So right now I'm going to use a test light, but you could also use a power probe or a multimeter. So I'm just going to show you this pin will work, the light lights up, but these two pins will not work as the engine is off.
As you saw, only one pin provided current, so that's because the engine was off. This one doesn't. That's the input, and there's no input. And this is the ground, so it doesn't provide power. So the ignition's turned on right now. At this point, if the relay was in, the fan should be spinning. Right now we're going to show you which terminals are sending power. So what happened is that the system actually kind of is messed up because if you see here on the diagram, everything is connected. The relays, both of them are connected to the fan motors. Now, I don't want to make it a bit more complicated for you guys, but I just want to say that the problem might not always be obvious. What you see first might not always be the problem. And we'll see it with the fan here. It was working first, but then after we did some replacements, it wasn't working. So let me show you. Alright, so this is what I mean. So if you test this particular motor by itself when it's flat like this, so I'm going to do that right now, it might seem like it's working, right? However, okay, so as you can see, it's rubbing, and it looks like there's something wrong with the bearing that causes it to act like this. But if we hadn't tested the motor while it was upright like this, then we wouldn't have figured out that it's broken. I guess what I really wanted to say was that the problem isn't always obvious, and that one solution won't always work for everything. Now, I wish Hizami was here so he could explain the cooling system. And I know in my 8th grade engineering class, when we were going over the car systems, my teacher said that the cooling system was always the most complex one. And I definitely did listen to him, but I didn't think it would be this hard. But it's good that Hizami's an electrical engineer anyway, right? I guess I got the mechanical side though. This video was about diagnosing and eliminating the possible culprit for this problem. And Hizami, you want to say it?
No.
Alright, so I don't know it by heart, but there's a quote by Sherlock Holmes which is about it's about how you eliminate everything until one truth remains, and no matter how impossible it might seem. I don't remember it, but that means.
Okay, I'll say it. I'm saying it. Once you've eliminated everything else, whatever remains, no matter how impossible, must be the truth.
What he said. What he said. I'm Aiman.
I'm Hizami.
And we just showed you how to diagnose what problems could be the cause of your radiator fan not working. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Look at our videos on EYeOnAiman, especially the auto repair videos and the videos with Hizami in it. Thank you for being in this video.
You're welcome.
Alright, mechanic Aiman and electrician Hizami signing out. Peace.